Hi guys! So, what have you been up to during this pandemic? Have you been strictly self-isolating? Maybe you've been helping at a food bank. Maybe you're a person of faith and you've been praying for the sick. Or maybe you're a key worker and you've been working really hard during this very difficult time. Or, if you're a member of my local branch of Extinction Rebellion, you've decided to break into a disused supermarket, vandalize it, and then squat there. Yes, that's what they've done, and they are truly, I think, the heroes of this pandemic. This has only happened in the last few days, in the borough of London, which I live in. And before you ask, I'm not going to tell you which borough I live in, okay? So don't even bother trying. It's Lewisham. I mean, it's the London borough of Lewisham. I mean, it's a part of London. So what they've done is they've invaded this property that was once a co-op, then it became a Morrison's, and then those businesses left, and the building has been empty for probably the last, well, I'd say 2 to 3 years. Extinction Rebellion have plastered up on the windows the reason why they've invaded this building. And you should be able to see that footage on your screen right now. And it reads, "This building has been empty for 3 years with the lights left on. Lewisham Extinction Rebellion has made a climate change information and action centre till the owners decide its future use." So what they're basically saying is, we've broken into a building because we didn't like the fact the lights were on, and now we're just going to stay here and make it our temporary home. Now, call me old-fashioned, and I know I do look a bit old-fashioned. I'm wearing a jacket, and look, I've got a pipe. But what I believe is that if you want to live in a property, or you want to use a property for your business, that what you do is you contact the landlord, that's the person who owns the property, and you ask him or her, you say, look, can I live here, or can I use this property for my business? And if he or she says yes, then you sign a contract with them, and then you pay them something called rent, which is money, and in exchange for the rent, they do lots of things to keep the property nice and maintained and all that kind of thing. It's the way it works. Similarly, if you want to buy a property and live in it, you get a mortgage. It's just the way it works. You have to pay money for it to do it legally. You know, you don't just have the right to break into a property and say, I live here now purely because I have a cause. And hey, maybe the lights had been left on for the last 3 years. But my opinion is, if the landlord wants to leave the lights on, and he or she is paying the bill to leave the lights on, then they can leave the lights on. Also, as many of you I'm sure are probably aware, normally people leave the lights on in an empty property to deter criminals. Which is kind of ironic, because in this case, Extinction Rebellion have committed a criminal act to go in and turn the lights off. Extinction Rebellion have also placed a huge banner at the top of the building, presumably where the name of the supermarket used to be. And the banner reads, "Fossil fuels equals death. Fossil fuels equals death." And I can't help but think that's a really stupid message to be putting out there right now in the midst of this global pandemic. Because without fossil fuels, how would we power the ambulances taking patients to hospital? How would we power the emergency helicopters that carry patients to hospital? How would we power police cars? How would we power a lot of the things we're using to help us without fossil fuels? I think it's a really insensitive thing to put up there right now. Because for every person who is rushed to hospital with COVID-19 in an ambulance burning fossil fuels, who is then saved from death. Fossil fuels does not equal death, it equals life. I think it's a really careless message of them to put up there at this time. And while we're focusing on things vaguely environmental, there's been a lot of talk on TV and in the press about how the global pandemic has been quite advantageous to the welfare of the environment. Planes aren't flying, not as many cars on the roads, etc., etc. So pollution is down, and animal life is thriving. And we're apparently supposed to view this as some sort of upside. Maybe I'm naive, and I don't really think this needs to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. There is no upside to a global pandemic. Global COVID-19 related deaths now exceed 270,000. I know friends who have lost their mothers and their fathers to COVID-19 during this pandemic. Do you honestly think they care about the positive impact it's having on the environment? I'm really sorry you lost your mum, mate. I'm so sorry you lost her. I'm so sorry. Listen, just stop crying for a second, because I've got some really good news for you. Really good news. Yeah, because of the global pandemic, pollution's down. Guess what? I have got so many baby frogs in my pond. Yeah. Hello? Hello? Well, I've had my rant. And I should say, I'm a Christian, and I do believe in people standing up for their causes. I really don't have a major problem with that. However, I do feel during this global pandemic, it's better to do something constructive that benefits the current situation in a humane sort of way, i.e. helping humanity. You could buy groceries for an older neighbour, help someone in some sort of way. Even if you're homeschooling your children, that's doing something. But I question the value of breaking into a building, squatting there, turning off lights, putting up notices in the window, and then talking about how good all this is for the environment. But hey, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Leave comments below. Nice or nasty, I don't really mind. Bye!